Hey, it's Ryan with QLZ. We are in the green room and we're here with somebody. We just had a show here in Springfield a couple weeks ago we were a part of, and we've got a couple coming up next week with the Illinois State Fair. We have Everclear on August 7th, and we have the person who we're talking with right now. We have Diamante next Friday night at the fair.
Friday
Friday
night.
night show.
I know, I'm so excited. I love playing fairs because not only there are a bunch of families and there's a ton of new people that maybe haven't heard of me before, but there's funnel cake. Funnel cake.
All right. Before we even dive into you told me a little bit about your set, which I'll let you go into as much detail as you want about it. But are funnel cakes your favorite fair food?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
If I'm playing a fair, I'm getting funnel cake after the show.
All right.
It's a tradition at this point.
Okay. Do you have it written in your contract where you're like, I'm excited to play, but I need funnel cake. I need at least one of them back here with me as I'm getting
No,
ready.
no, I don't, but that's actually a great idea. I should start doing that.
All right. Right. Is this pre-show or post-show you're having the funnel cake?
This has to be post-show. This is like the reward after the show.
Okay.
Also because I'm one of those people that I cannot really eat like too soon before a show because I have just too much excitement, nervousness going on. But after the show, I will feast.
Okay. All right. Do you have a pre-show routine then? Is there a certain time limit you're cutting off? Are there certain foods you're avoiding that day? Because we've had a couple smaller bands kind of come through here to Springfield and we've done dinner the night before, and I've asked them, I'm like, is there anything that you don't want the night before? They're like, the night before we're good, but the day of it can be a little picky. So what do you have to be picky about the day of a show for what you actually eat?
Day of the show, the only things I'm picky about will be things that will affect my voice. So
Okay.
I don't have soda. I actually don't drink alcohol when I'm on tour or
Okay.
when I'm playing shows. So my voice is like the best possible
Yeah.
condition it can be in. Um, I I do try to stay away from anything that's too heavy because I've made the mistake of like going to all you can eat sushi before a show and and just feeling horrible. So I try to keep it like pretty light, a lot of protein so that I have energy is
Okay.
my go-to. Like I will just stick to like I don't know, steak, fish,
Okay.
like things that I know will give me protein but aren't going to weigh me down. And then after the show, it's a free for all.
All right.
It's whatever.
Perfect. Nice reward for yourself for everything. And this is a long set. I wasn't sure how long
Yeah.
your set was until you told me. So next Friday, August 8th, you're on the Grand Central stage underneath the Rice Pavilion on the Illinois State Fairgrounds. So these shows, again, if you have fair admission, these shows are free to come check out. So we encourage you to come see Diamante next Friday on the 8th. And you're playing a long set for this.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a headline set, but this is a 90-minute set, which
Mhm.
I've never done before. I think the longest I've ever done is like an hour.
Okay.
So it's gonna it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot of songs, but I have been training endurance wise, and I've been coming up with like cool little interludes and segments that I can put in the set so that I'm not, you know, killing myself for 90 minutes straight because that's
Yeah.
crazy. It's a lot.
So I know you've got something you can tell me a little bit later on when it comes to music and kind of what you're releasing. Is this a lot then from the first couple albums that you've released? I know you've got 2 records out there. Is this some stuff where we're going to get to hear some things that maybe aren't released yet?
Yes. So I'm planning to do a mix of my first 2 albums because I love playing songs from my very first
Mhm.
album because like the OG fans love that so much. I even play a song that I released in 2014 called Bite Your Kiss. That one always
Okay.
goes in the set because it's like such a throwback and it's a reminder for me like look how much you've done since you've put out this song, so I like putting that in the set. I do have a new song that will be in the set as well that will be released by the time I'm actually playing the show, but it'll be the first time I've ever played it.
Okay.
And then 1987 and All for the Glory, which are my 2 newest songs, are also in the set. And I think I'm even doing a cover that I've never done live before too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you got some good covers out there, and there's one that I want to ask you about because it was a cool collaboration as well. I want to touch on that from you. But kind of like you mentioned, you're going back to 2014 on some of this music, and I know you started music when you were young. You were very young, I know, when you started music. So, um, where do you think you've kind of like grown as an artist the most? Kind of what are you the most proud of when you kind of look back from where you started to where you are right now?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think the two areas where I feel like I've grown the most have been songwriting and performing. Um, Songwriting has been a lot of me realizing that the more vulnerable I am, the more willing I am to talk about things that maybe I don't want anyone to know, the more powerful that song ends up being, and the more people can relate to that song, and just the more powerful impact it has, which is what I've always wanted to accomplish with music. And then with performing, it's night and day, not just with like ability, like technical ability, like knowing when to breathe, when to
Mhm.
stop, when to when to go 1,000% and conserve the energy. But it's also been a confidence thing. And I think you can really only build that just doing it over and over and over for years, playing in front of the 10 people, playing in
Mhm.
front of the thousands of people, playing in front of the people that love you, playing in front of the people that look at you like they want you to fall off the stage. It's all part of the journey. So those two areas for me have been the biggest change since the beginning.
That's awesome. You mentioned songwriting and being vulnerable, and I feel like it's something I've asked a lot of bands because it seems like the last couple of years, the more bands I talk to, the more they're highlighting things in their life that are traumatic for them, or they're things that they've gone through, and they put them out there, and they're like, the people that message us that say, hey, we just want to message you personally because we're going through this, or I lost somebody with this way. Have you seen that with you, where you're opening yourself up more? And I understand it's a frightening thing. Like, I don't talk about my personal life much on the air. I'm not that kind of person. I don't talk about a whole lot of things. But do you find that people are relating to you, or they're reaching out to you, and kind of what's the response been like to that for you, opening up yourself a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. And I noticed it especially with my last album, American Dream, because that's when I really started to open up in that way. I would have people come up to me after shows and tell me, Ghost Myself saved my life. Or a mom would come up to me with her daughter and say, your music saved my daughter's life. Um, or people come up to me a lot with the song Unlovable, because that for me, I think is the most vulnerable one I've ever released. And they tell me all the time, that's exactly how I feel. I didn't think anyone else felt like that. Thank you so much for this song. And that to me has been so fulfilling and rewarding. And that's what drives me to want to continue to write from that perspective and to continue to open up even more because it's magical.
That's awesome. That's great. You've mentioned a couple times like you love the fairs because families are there. You just mentioned mothers coming up with their daughters. Have you seen that maybe more at your shows? The more you've done, is it becoming more like parents bringing their kids in and kind of being a family thing when they come see you?
Yeah, it is. And it's something actually that I've always noticed with my shows is it's very much a family affair. Like
Mhm.
I will have the little kids who at the time when I had blue hair would come and have their hair spray painted blue or like moms and dads that because I think my stuff can be very reminiscent of the 80s and like very nostalgic, I think the parents love it and then they want to introduce their kids to rock music and then the kids love it. So it becomes this generational bonding experience. And when I look out into the crowd and I see families, it makes me so happy.
Oh, that's great. I love that. One of the things you got to do this year, I know you had a couple of songs you put out. I know 1987 and For All the Glory, couple of tracks you put out, but you got to do a cool collaboration as well, covering Metallica with Kitty, who have been around for a long time. They're some of the OGs when it comes to female metal. And yourself, who's been doing this for a little while and still up and coming, and the Pretty Wild, who are a new up and coming act out there, who I'm going to go see, I think, in November. Kind of how this collaboration kind of come together. I know it's for the Queen of the Ring soundtrack, but kind of how this come together
Mhm.
with the three of you.
It's actually a really cool story. So we are all on the same label, Sumerian, and the as part of Sumerian, the director of the movie, Ash Avildsen, he wanted to create a soundtrack for his film. And I think he had the genius idea of having three of his artists all come
Mhm.
together on this one cover. And what's actually funny is I've never met the Pretty Wild or Kitty, although I would love to. But I think it was a really cool idea to have us all come together because we have such different voices. So you hear all these different textures. And when I was, told, hey, do you want to do this cover? And we're planning to have these artists on it as well. It was a no-brainer for me. It was a really fun song to cover. I ended up going to the movie premiere, seeing the film here in LA. So the whole experience was very cool. And I love doing things that connect me to other artists. I love collaborating. I've done it a lot in the past.
Mhm.
So if there's ever an opportunity to work with other bands and other artists, I will 98% of the time say yes.
Now, do you approach? I know obviously it's you're covering Metallica, but since this is for soundtrack, you've done a couple things for soundtracks. I think American Psycho was one of the other ones, and that was
Mhm.
I know Pat Benatar cover. But I'm curious, like, do you approach these songs in any different way, knowing that it's going to be for a soundtrack, or is it kind of you're gonna do your spin on it?
I usually just do my thing, which is I like to do a mixture of honoring the song. I don't want
Mhm.
to change it drastically because there's a reason why these songs are great to begin with. But then I like to, especially towards the end of the song, like the last chorus, do some melody changes or throw in
Okay.
a couple of crazy ad libs just to say, like, this is what I would have done if
Mhm.
I had been the one to record this song. Um, and I do think too with soundtracks, maybe subconsciously, I sing it a little more dramatically because you
Okay.
have to, it's cinematic, so you
Yeah.
have to bring the drama.
I know. I'm curious about that. Again, I know you're covering stuff. So it's not like you're creating a song for the soundtrack, but it's like it's something that Evanescence has done a couple songs now
Mhm.
for soundtracks. In my head, I'm like, I wonder if they do anything different since it's a soundtrack. Like you're creating a song for a soundtrack. If the process is any different, and now I'm gonna have to go back and listen to your covers again and listen to the end because
Yeah,
going
yeah.
first time going through, it's listening just to take it in. So when we talk about it, I have a good idea of what you're doing, and now it's like, all right, now there's an Easter egg. I got to go back and listen for. What made you want to do that? Kind of put your own little thing there at the end. Why was it maybe at the end that you kind of want to put that in?
I think it's because I do this with my original music as well. When it comes to a last chorus, I want to give the listener something extra,
Okay.
something that gives them a reason to want to listen until the very end of the song. And I think, for me at least, when you've heard a chorus the same way twice, the last time it comes around, you can have that creativity and that freedom to change
Okay.
it up a bit. And it's also a little bit, show off, like, hey, I'm gonna do these crazy notes and they're gonna sound really good.
Awesome. Oh, that's cool. I love that. You'd mentioned by the time the fair is here, you're gonna have a song out that you'll be playing for the first time. So when it comes to music for you, I know you've got something that you're releasing here in the next couple of days. So what are you releasing, and kind of what does the rest of this year look like for you with music?
So I'm releasing the third single off of my next album. Album name TBD
Okay.
and album date TBD.
Okay.
But the song is called Silver Bullet. And it is very much still in that 80s world. And it's something that I wrote actually after having watched Lady Gaga perform in Vegas on my birthday. She
Okay.
did her jazz and piano show. And I was just so mesmerized, not even just so much by her talent, because she's insanely talented, but the way she carried herself, the way she used her femininity to actually exude all this power. And I was just so enamored by it that I wanted to write a song that really celebrated that feminine power.
Mhm.
And so a lot of the song is like she. I'm singing about someone that I'm admiring, a
Okay.
woman, Lady Gaga, but it's also very autobiographical because the song is a lot of my journey coming up in the music industry, all the hardships I've had to face, all the no's, all the obstacles, and it's a lot of me having to prove myself all these years and being underestimated, but then somehow managing to win these people over.
Yeah.
So it's very cool, and it's fast paced. It's like that arena rock sound that I love
Okay.
so much. Uh, Guitar riffs mixed with synths. I'm really proud of it.
Awesome. And I know you said this will be the third song you're putting out, so it's a full length that we're getting. Are you able to share that?
Yes.
Okay, it is a full length. All right. Okay. I know you said some of the other stuff's TBD right now. Kind of what's the album kind of be like if you can share it? I know for the Glory, listening to that today, like the end gets pretty aggressive from you.
Mhm.
It was probably one of the more aggressive tracks we probably had from you. At least I know at the very end. I'm glad I at least picked up on that. That
Yes.
and got a little
Very
bit more aggressive at the end. 1987 is very, very 80s. It feels like, it's doesn't sound like it's a ripoff of the 80s, but it's got that vibe to it. It sounds fresh as well. So is the album kind of a mixture of kind of a lot of that, or you trying some new stuff on this?
Yeah, it's definitely a mixture of that. It's a mixture of the rock that I've always done because that's just in my bones at
Yeah.
this point. But it's also really honing in on that 80s influence that I love. So it's a lot of synths mixed with the hard rock guitars, mixed with like soaring pop melodies, and then little little fun moments here and there like that last chorus and all for the glory. And the subject matter is also, it's personal again like American Dream, but I think it's very introspective because this is my third album now. So I go back and I think to myself, what have I learned? What would I have done differently? So there's a lot of that at play.
Awesome. Cool. And like you said, all this is TBD, but new song you'll be playing for the first time at the Illinois State Fair. So Reich Pavilion, free show with fair admission. You've mentioned, 98% of the time you'll say yes to collaborations. You've mentioned Lady Gaga, how much you love her. Your dream collaborations. Cause I know like you've done some that have gone to rock radio. So some of your dream collaborators, your bucket list,
Oh my gosh.
wish
Okay.
list. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I have to put Gaga in the list because
Okay.
that would be crazy. Stevie Nicks would be
Okay.
another one. I would love a Stevie Nicks collaboration. Um, I would love to do a song with Muse
Okay.
because I love them. I think they're very cool. And let me think of one other one. Um, what other really cool collaboration? There's so many artists. Pat Benatar.
Okay. Getting a
I
lot of
have
the
to,
okay.
yeah, I
A
have to
couple
put
of
Pat
the
Benatar.
couple of
Mhm.
the
Like,
people there. There we go.
yeah, and to do collaboration with like a music legend would be epic.
All right. Well, there we go. We put out. Hey, I interviewed Daughtry and mentioned at one point a couple of his collaborations that he wanted to do were nothing more at one point, and then it
Oh,
was
yeah.
David Draymond at one point, and then they ended up going out with Disturbed. So it's like, hey, some of the stuff has been kind of put out there and it's kind of happened. So
He
we'll see what happens.
manifested it all. He made it
Not
happen.
me. No, I'm just. It's just hey, we put it out. They just asked, and it's like, hey, about a year later, some of this stuff kind of happened. So hey, it might. You never know. I'm not saying I did it. I just asked the question, and they gave me a good answer for it. That's all. That's all I did for it. So also got to ask you because you mentioned a lot of you're doing a third studio album. You're continuing with the albums, which we don't always see. Some people are doing the singles or doing EPs and whatnot, and some people are doing albums and some not. Some of your favorite no skip albums of all time, favorite start to finish, your
Ooh.
favorite complete albums, a few of them.
Rumors, Fleetwood Mac.
Okay.
Like that one has no skips for me.
Okay.
Um, Appetite for Destruction, Guns N' Roses has
All
no
right.
skips for me. Uh, and Hysteria, Def Leppard has no skips for me. I will listen to those back to front all the time.
Are you able to hang out in Springfield for like 8 days? Because Def Leppard's going to be at the grandstand on August 16th,
Are you serious?
and we're presenting.
Oh my gosh. I wish. I wish. I did get to see them live. I think it was in 2017. Also one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Okay.
I want to see them live again so badly.
All right. Well, August 16th. If you got nothing to do, you want to
August
fly back to
16th?
spring. You want
Okay.
to fly back into Springfield. They're here. They're at the
I'm
grandstand.
thinking about it. I
All right.
really am.
All right. All right. Well, they're here August 16th. You're here August 8th with us. Reich Pavilion, Grand Central Stage. Free show with fair admission. Diamante, we're excited to have you here. Where can people follow you? Socials, website, people want to buy merch. Obviously, people come out and support you next Friday, but if people want to support you with social media and website, where can everybody do that and follow you?
Yeah, so website is thisisdiamante.com. And all my social media handles are this is Diamante, because Diamante was taken. I think Twitter though is Diamante Band, but it's all there.
Awesome. Well, next Friday, August 8th, Diamante is here, Grand Central Stage, 7:30. Show gets going, free show with fair admission on in. So we get rocked the first two nights. Everclear August 7th, Diamante on the 8th. QLZ, we get rock nights the first couple nights for the fair. We're excited for it. So Diamante, looking forward to seeing you here.
Awesome. I'm so excited too. And thank you so much for having me.